I don't know why I do it to myself. I really don't. I'm just tired, man. My team right now are just a stress. It's just a whole stress. Let's just get into it. 'Cause I don't even want to be here for too long chatting about this, to be quite honest. Match week 15. What a match week it was. Couple of surprising results, couple unsurprising ones, obviously, but we'll get right to it. We'll start at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. That was a 2-2 game. Really entertaining game. Nottingham Forest came back from behind. Very, very entertaining game. Nottingham Forest starting to show a little bit more now, especially at home. They've got a lot of good, useful players, and this is why I don't think they'll get relegated, because they do have a very, very good style. The systematic style they play is perfect for the players that they've got at the club, and I think the recruitment's been very, very good. I just think they've signed too many, but like I said, in time they will string a few runs together, especially at home, because they are very, very strong there. Have beaten Liverpool there previously as well. Got a vital draw versus Brentford over the weekend, last week, and Brentford aren't the best away from home. I do keep mentioning that. But entertaining game nonetheless. So points apiece there, ended 1-1. Wolverhampton 0, Wolverhampton 2, Brighton 3. I called Brighton to win this game. I just wasn't expecting to win it as they did. Of course, Wolverhampton had another player sent off as well. I think they're in trouble. To my understanding, Julian Lopetegui is not coming in until after the World Cup. So I think Wolves are going to struggle from now up until obviously when the World Cup starts, which is on Sunday of next week, which is the 20th, I believe. As for Brighton, they're building. They're building. I said it when Potter left. Whoever comes in is going to have to continue on that trend, because the players Brighton have, and obviously their phases of play, which I love. I think, like I said, I think Brighton are one of the best teams at it in the league going forward. They're very, very good to watch. He's taking it on, and Brighton seem to be doing it really, really well. They're an opponent for everyone. Brighton can play against anybody and get a decent result out of the game. I thought they were very unlucky in a few of the results that they lost, especially against us. And I thought they actually should have won the game, but we were very resolute on that day. But 3-2 to Brighton. They are still in the top 8 of the Premier League at the moment, have been pretty much the whole season. As for Wolverhampton, they need a striker. Diego Costa is not that guy anymore. I got a feeling Julian Lopetegui will change it up. Obviously, knowing his style with Sevilla, very easy on the eye. Not smash mouth. They're very, very good technically. Very good ballers at Wolverhampton. I think that will work to his favour perfectly. So 3-2 win there for Brighton at Molineux. Manchester City 2, Fulham 1. This was an interesting one, this one. Fulham had their chances and probably should have won the game when Manchester City went down to 10 men. I think João Cancelo got sent off for a push. But Manchester City are that team that, even down to 10 men, it looks like they've got players all over the pitch. And it showed. Fulham did not know what to do sort of after that happened. Like I said, they had their chances, but they still sat too deep. When at that time, they should have just gone hell for leather and obviously tried to pepper them, but it just didn't happen that way. Haaland came off the bench, and then obviously when he's on the pitch, it's all she wrote. So it ended 2-1 to Manchester City at the Etihad. Fulham, again, will be, I've shied away from them being relegated. It's just not going to happen this season. I do see them being in sort of the 13th, 14th. I do think that they'll sort of fall down the pecking order, but they've got a good squad. They've got players that are working together. Defensively, they've got a lot better. I'm really impressed with Fulham. And as for Manchester City, I think they're going to win the league anyway. And I think they'll do it at a canter, to be quite honest. But 2-1 win, Manchester City. Erling Haaland is on another goal. It's 18 in the Premier League this season already 5 behind last season's Golden Boot winners of Salah and Son with 23, which is still a complete madness to me. And he's not even going to the World Cup, so he gets a chance to rest as well. It's all going to be a bit mad when the Premier League resumes after the World Cup break. Leeds United versus Bournemouth. Ellen Road ended 4-3. Bournemouth actually took the lead in that game and were winning 3-1 at one point. Bournemouth are doing the opposite of what we like to do. So we like to tend to not play well in the first half and then play great in the second half when it's too late. Bournemouth like to play very well in the first half and then play terribly in the second half and end up losing games. So this is the second week on the bounce. Bournemouth have had a 2-goal lead and have let it slip. Once against us, obviously, the week before last. And then obviously Leeds United last week. Leeds ended up winning the game 4-3. Somerville again with the winner, as he did against Liverpool on Sunday of last week as well. Or week before even. And now we've got Leeds United next today at home. I'm not looking forward to that game, but I'll get into that obviously once I talk about the games today as well and give my predictions. But 4-3 to Leeds and Ellen Road, they are still climbing up the table. Jesse Marsh is a very, very, very good coach, but defensively they need to be a lot better. That's the only criticism I'd have for them right now. But they're in good form, so there's not much I could really say at the moment. Everton versus Leicester City. I actually had Everton down to win this one at Goodison Park because it was under the lights. It is a bit of a night game. Leicester, I didn't really think had a chance, but Leicester played them like a fiddle. Absolutely played Everton like a fiddle. Everton were awful last week. They were awful. And that's probably the worst I've seen Everton play other than the first sort of 4 games of the season. They've kind of gone back into that lull last week. Leicester absolutely outplayed them from start to finish pretty much. It wasn't even, they didn't even break sweat, to be honest. Goals from Tielemans, which was probably up there with goal of the month already. Nothing's beaten that strike already this month. And Harvey Barnes, which I thought was, did he make the England squad? I don't think Harvey Barnes did make the England squad, did he? Which is a little bit of a shame for him, to be quite honest. I think he's one of the better performing Englishmen out there, to be quite honest with you. I'm not going to get into the England squad, to be quite honest, because I think the whole England squad thing is a joke. He's picked his favourite players. He hasn't picked players on form at all. How's Maguire getting ahead of Tomori? Anyway, never mind. So yeah, that was a win there for Leicester. Another win for them. It takes them out of the relegation zone. So they won 2-0 at Goodison Park. Leading into Sunday then, one of the shock results, if you like. Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1, live from Stamford Bridge. I say shock because no one's expecting Arsenal to win the league this year. Arsenal are putting themselves in a position to be title challengers. And I guess you could say they are now after, 15 games. Chelsea were terrible. It's not often I use the term terrible for Chelsea when defending, but Chelsea all over the pitch were horrible. I think Aubameyang had about 8 touches. Mason Mount was anonymous. Yeah, they were just not good. Arsenal weren't good either, to be fair, but they got the break, got the corner, and Gabriel and his forehead and his hairline put it over the back of the net. So 1-0 win to Arsenal, another 3 points for them. It's going to stop. I know it will. I keep on saying it every week and somehow they keep on pulling it out of the bag, but it will stop. After the World Cup, the momentum will stop and Man City will take over, which is what the whole world needs to see. We don't need Arsenal in the league again, so it just is what it is. But as it stands, they are currently top of the league again, 2 points clear of Manchester City, with a game in hand on us as well. I think they're like already 7 points ahead of us, so we need to build that bridge somehow. I'll get into how we may do it over the course of this video. Aston Villa 3, Manchester United 1. I actually watched this with my boy Jao at this moment. United were not clinical. United defensively fell asleep. This is what happens without Varane, to be quite honest with you. Martinez can only do so much. But Aston Villa, new manager bounce. Unai Emery there. Villa Park was rocking. Scored 2 goals within the first 10 minutes. Game was over pretty much then. And then obviously Jacob Ramsey in the second half put the game to bed. Ended up 3-1 to Aston Villa. Bit of a topsy-turvy season for them, I find. Obviously, Steven Gerrard has been fired. Unai Emery comes in, so he'll steady the ship a little bit. He's got players to work with there. And I think he'll do quite well. I do see Aston Villa again in that sort of mini league of 11th down to 14th. And then obviously they'll probably invest in sort of January to summer. And then we'll probably see what Aston Villa are really about. Because Aston Villa, truthfully, should be in the top 10. They're a top 10 side. And should be acting as such. But results like that get you there. As for Man United, I see it as a bit of a blip. I don't think they'll struggle. I think United may get top 4 this season as well. They've been in really good form. It's just a matter of keeping certain players fit. But they have a really, really nice style. I like what Erik ten Hag is doing there. And I don't have any worries for them. One of my surprise packages of the season, as I keep on mentioning, Newcastle United went to St Mary's and absolutely tore Southampton a new one. Ended up being 4-1. Miguel Almiron scored again, as I mentioned he would last week. Jack Grealish must be crying into his pillow every time Almiron scores a goal. It's so funny to see at the moment. Almiron is on a different level. 8 goals in his last 8 games. It's a bit of a madness, to be quite honest. And I do see him scoring another one this weekend as well as Chelsea come to visit him at St James's. It's going to be a great game. Last week wasn't the best game for Southampton. They have sacked Ralph Hasenhüttl now. I think that's been on the cards for a little while. Luton manager Nathan Jones has been appointed, to my understanding. I don't think that's going to work. Nathan Jones tried to leave once before, went to Stoke City and flopped. And this is a much bigger job than Stoke is, and I'm not sure it's going to work. But we'll see. This is why you give managers a chance. We will see. Southampton, currently, for me, form-wise, were going down. They might have a new manager bounce as well. They've got decent players. They just don't have a goal scorer. And I've said this on many occasions in my videos. Southampton need a goal scorer because they play decent football when they want to. But when it comes to getting to the final third, they're just not at it at all whatsoever. But a Newcastle win at St Mary's. Newcastle is still flying, now third in the league. Callum Wilson as well is part of the England setup. So all round good week for them. West Ham versus Crystal Palace. I called this one to be a draw. And I'm surprised that Crystal Palace actually got the points on this one, because Crystal Palace don't usually travel well away, and the last few away games have been very, very terrible. This one is a very good 2-1 win for them, and they were losing for majority of the game. At least they got them the winner. Crystal Palace under Vieira are very, very good. I like their facets of play. They have good transitions from defence all the way up to attack. They bypass your midfield with relative ease, and that's because they've got the quality on the wings to do it. Zaha, as we know, Elise, as we know, Eze, as we know, all very good in the ball. But they've got really good industrial players in there as well that obviously like to get onto the ball and obviously like to make things happen. They're good in transition, Crystal Palace, so they're very dangerous, especially as an away team if they're playing on the counter. West Ham just weren't at it, and I put that down to tiredness. Obviously had the Europa League. Did rest a few players, but again, if you're travelling, it's going to take, its toll. Fatigue is a thing, of course, and I think that was their undoing. I just think West Ham are really tired. But another L, again, for West Ham. It's always good when that happens. I don't mind when they lose. But yeah, London Stadium, West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 2. And then the final game of that weekend of last week, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Liverpool ended up beating us 2-1, as they always tend to do every year now. I think we haven't beaten them in the last 8 meetings at home since we beat them 4-1 and Pochettino was in charge. I'm just tired of this Conte football at the moment, and I don't say that based on the fact that we're losing games, because we're not even playing well. I don't mind losing and we play well. Then it's like, what, we tried, blah blah blah. We did not try. I don't get this whole thing of us defending in the first half. We have defenders that can't defend and have conceded more goals than ever before under Conte's reign. What has he changed from last season? I don't understand it. If you're playing a certain style, keep that certain style, keep it going, because obviously it works. Why would you change it to not play at all? First half, completely outplayed, 2-0 down. All of a sudden, second half, we got it all to do. Battered Liverpool all second half. Probably should have maintained that we got a draw at least. We had the chances to do it. Never put the chances away. Hit the post, hit the bar. Anything you could think of that we did in that second half, we did it without scoring a second goal. I'm just tired of it, to be quite honest. I need us to start fast. I need us to obviously keep going. Kulusevski and Richarlison being back is massive for us today as we play Leeds United. But on the whole, I need it to change. I know Conte said he doesn't like to play with too much space in the back, but we don't have the defenders to defend. So we can't keep playing with a low block. This feels like Jose all over again. I'm tired of it. I don't want to sit there and obviously have my head in my hands every 5 minutes because we're giving the ball away or because we can't defend it. Even in the midweek against Nottingham Forest, it's exactly the same thing. We sat back, soaked up all the pressure, and all of a sudden we're 1-0 down inside the first 2 minutes of the first half. And nothing changed. He needs to get off it, because I do believe if Leeds United beat us today, I think he's in trouble. And I really do think the fans will start to turn on him. I personally haven't turned on him. I don't think I will, but I do know that it needs to change, and it needs to change quite quickly. I won't say Liverpool deserve to win in the end, because I don't think they did. I don't actually think they were that good. We gave them the goals that they scored, especially the second one. Eric Dyer had a brain fart moment, didn't even look where Salah was, and in front of him there was nobody there. I don't know. Something has to change, and dramatically and quite quickly. Kane's getting tired as well. This is why we have a squad. Don't play Kane in the midweek game. Play Richarlison. That's what he's there for. He's on the bench. Give him 60 minutes and then put Kane on. Do you know what I mean? It's just decisions like that jar me. Emerson Royale will somehow get another starting berth today. It's just all a bit long. Jed Spence we need in the first team. Absolutely need in the first team. Jed Spence all day long. I don't mind you playing a 3-4-3, but do it with the right personnel. You can't be having Ryan Sessegnon and Emerson Royale in the team every week. Perisic, leave him out there on the left. Put in Matt Doherty or Jed Spence on the right. Emerson Royale, Davison Sanchez do not make the squad. Don't make the squad. I don't want to see that man in the squad ever again. Seriously, get it together. Honestly. We're going to round 16 now. The match is obviously being played this weekend. First matchup is in about an hour's time. Manchester City versus Brentford from the Etihad. I've got Manchester City to win this 4-0. Haaland will probably start today. I've actually got Kevin De Bruyne to have a shot on target. That's my bet. That's the only bet that I saw that I was like, let me put that on. It's an easy one. Kevin De Bruyne to have one shot throughout the entire game. That probably will happen. Keep in mind, Brentford will probably sit back. So they'll probably have to do a lot of pop shots, free kicks, things of that nature. So I do see De Bruyne getting a goal today. Definitely a shot on target for sure. But Manchester City from the Etihad, I think they'll win that 4-0 against Brentford. 3 o'clock kickoffs, Liverpool versus Southampton at Anfield. I'll go 2-1 Liverpool. That has the ingredients to be a bit of a banana peel, a banana slip for them. Southampton on a new manager bounce as well. Southampton have caused Liverpool problems in the past before. I'm just saying 2-1. I think Liverpool have enough to beat them, and Liverpool seem to be in a little bit of form at the moment. So I'll go 2-1 against Southampton at Anfield. Bournemouth versus Everton, live from the Vitality Stadium. It's a tough one, this one. I'm going to go with a draw based on the fact that Bournemouth can't seem to keep a lead. Everton have been playing better recently, apart from last week where they got completely outplayed. I think this will go 2-2. A lot of goals. Neither teams are great defending at this moment in time. I'll go a 2-2 draw there. West Ham versus Leicester from the London Stadium. I will say Leicester will win this one today. I think Leicester have found a bit of form at the right time. And if West Ham are going to play the way I know West Ham will play at home, with their centre-back sort of pushed up towards the halfway line, Leicester will exploit. James Maddison, Tielemans, if Vardy plays, Harvey Barnes, players like that will hurt you. And I do think Leicester will come out with the victory there. I'm going 2-1 Leicester win at West Ham. Tottenham versus Leeds. I've mentioned this before. I think if Leeds United win today, Conte's in big, big trouble. We need to start fast. We need to be all action. We need to be on the attack. And just for that, and I'm saying this, 2-1 to Spurs. We'll do it today. We'll finally be back on winning ways. Leeds United are playing well at the moment, but they do concede a lot of goals, and that's our in, I think. So anytime we do attack, I do think we'll score, especially if Kulusevski and Richarlison play either side of Kane, which I'm thinking that's what Conte will do today. 2-1 Leeds, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium to us. Nottingham Forest versus Crystal Palace at the City Ground. I'm going to go with a draw there. Forest are very good at home, I've mentioned before. Crystal Palace, not the greatest away, though. They did have a good result last week at West Ham. I'll go with a 1-1 draw here. I can't tell them apart at this point. Nottingham Forest obviously coming off a very good win midweek against us as well. So they have momentum there. So I will say that's going to be a draw, 1 apiece. Nottingham Forest versus Palace. Newcastle versus Chelsea is also later on this evening. It's actually the live game from 5:30. St James's Park. I don't see Chelsea going there getting a result. I really don't. And Newcastle do like to cause Chelsea a lot of problems when Chelsea go out there. And I don't see today being any different. I'm going to go with a Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0 scoreline. And I think Almiron and Callum Wilson will both be on the score sheets again today. Chelsea at the moment defensively aren't great. They've got a lot of problems there. Obviously Ben Chilwell out. Reece James is currently out at the moment. The back line is currently too old. Koulibaly is 31, 32. Thiago Silva's 38. Azpilicueta's 34. doesn't make good reading at the moment, and I do think Newcastle will exploit that based on the fact that they're in the greatest form of their life at the minute, and Almiron is an absolute god at the moment. So Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0 at St James's Park. Later on this evening after that game, we've got Molineux, Wolverhampton versus Arsenal. And I think this will be a potential banana skin for Arsenal, but I do see them coming out unscathed. And it will probably be a 1-0 win to Arsenal there. Depending on what Wolverhampton do, I can't see them doing much against an informed Arsenal team. And it hurts me to say that because I like Wolves. I just don't think they have enough about them. Ruben Neves on set pieces is always a problem. João Moutinho, depending if he's fit or not, is a very, very good maestro in the middle of midfield. But they need to be quick, and I just don't see them being quicker than Arsenal. I see an Arsenal 1-0 win there, and I think they'll maintain their form at the moment. We'll go to tomorrow, Amex Stadium, Brighton versus Aston Villa. I'm going with a Brighton win. Tight one though. I'll go 1-0 Brighton. I do think Aston Villa will get better under Unai Emery. I just don't think right now they're in that form as yet. So I think Brighton will fully exploit that, especially at home. So 1-0 win at the Amex. And last game of the weekend, we go to Craven Cottage. That'll be tomorrow at 4:30. Fulham versus Manchester United. I do think that'll be a high goal scoring game. I see 3-1, 3-2 either way. I can't really sort of gauge who's going to get the win. The smart money would be on Fulham based on the fact that they've started the season so well. But Man United are one of those teams that can go away from home and nick 3 points, 1-0, 2-1 type win. But I do see a lot of goals here, and as I mentioned, I think it will be 3-2 to any one of those two teams. I can't sort of decide which way that's going to go. But that's my roundup for now. Get involved, get commenting, criticisms, whatever. I'm all over it. Any publicity is good publicity, end of the day. I'll be back next week with obviously the roundup of round 15's games and obviously predictions for round 16. But as it stands at the moment, here we are. And I'll hopefully speak to you soon. Be good. Have a good weekend. Speak to you later.